Welcome to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video, and today's video is going to be on preparing Ewoks for the 3PO event, which comes out on Friday. Now, 3PO's kit was just released. If you want to read it, go to the Galaxy of Heroes forums, check it out. I'm not going to read it until I have the character so I can give you a more in-depth perspective, but he has 5 uniques. He is going to be good, and we don't know how hard the event is going to be. Also, some people are, complaining about the complexity of the kits that have been coming out. I like the complexity. I'm not saying they're complaining. They just don't like it as much. I like the complexity, the in-depth, because it means the more you study and know how to use them, the better you're going to be. I love the complexity of Revan. C-3PO is going to be even more complex, and I like that about him. So now let's take a look at the Ewoks. Again, the event comes out on Friday. I am going to do the event. If you want to wait to mod, gear up, and potentially take your Ewoks to the next level, star-wise, wait till I do the event, okay? You'll be able to see if I think it's tough, if I think it's easy, where you should go from there. Now, it isn't a legendary event, where if you have him at 5 stars, you can get him at 5 stars. If you have him at 7 stars, you can get him at 7 stars. So I want to get him at 7 stars. And also, I used to think Ewoks were a waste, but I think they're going to be very useful in Territory Wars and Grand Arena, so I'm going to work on leveling them up anyway. The one character I don't have is Logray. I don't have him at 7 stars, and I have a feeling he's probably going to be the best Ewok needed for this event. So, let's look at Chief Chirpa first. That is the leader I'm going to be using. And I have him Zeted, and I have him at Gear 12. So we're going to go through his quickly, and then I will show you the mods that I have on him. His basic attack deals physical damage to target enemy. In addition, Chirpa gains 35% turn meter if that enemy had more than 50% turn meter. Good. Ancestral Secrets. All allies recover 20% of their max health and gain heal over time 20% for 3 turns. Ewok allies also gain retribution for 2 turns and heal over time for 1 additional turn. Good. Now we'll look at Tribal Unity. Grant all allies speed up for 2 turns, then call all the Ewok allies and 1 other random ally to assist. Good. We're going to be going. We're going to be assisting. And then I have his Simple Tactics Zeta. I'll read that whole ability. Ewok allies gain 20% turn meter and deal 10% more damage whenever they perform a basic attack. These effects are halved for other allies. Whenever an Ewok ally, this is the Zeta, uses a special ability, 60% chance to call another random Ewok ally to assist. We want them to do as much damage as possible because they're not damage dealers. But what do we want to do with Chirpa? It says up here in his tags, he is a support character. I want him to support. I'm not looking for him to deal massive amounts of damage. I want him to survive and go as many times as possible so he can be healing, he can be AoEing and calling assists, and I want him to stay on the field. So therefore, I have a speed set on him and a health set. You want a speed set. You want him to go as much as possible. So these are some average speed mods. I could put better on him if I think they're needed. You want speed, and in my opinion, defensive stats in the secondaries, where that would be protection, health, defense, and I have that mod right here. In the diamond, I have speed, protection, defense, a little offense. Again, I'm looking for those defensive mods. Some people may disagree with me. This is just the way I recommend you mod him, and I might have to change it up when the event comes out. In the circle, I have a primary stat of health with some good speed. In the cross, I have a primary stat of health with some decent speed. I might want to change that to protection. Same thing with the diamond, or the triangle, I have a primary set of health. Maybe I want to change that to protection or slice it to get, 16% health almost. And I have some decent speed. And then you want speed in the arrow. So what is his goal, in my opinion? It's to survive and go as many times as possible. So I have defensive stats and speed. Because, okay, his basic attack here is going to attack, and he could be gaining extra turn meter. But really, this one's a heal. This one calls, or gives speed up and calls other allies to assist. So he has one ability that really attacks. I'm looking for him to go to be able to assist the other Ewoks. So, I have him at Gear 12 as well. Don't know if that's necessary. Now we'll look at Paploo. What is Paploo? Paploo is a tank. Let's read his abilities quickly. Vigilant Strike. Deal physical damage and dispel all buffs from target enemy. Paploo gains defense up for 2 turns. If an Ewok ally calls Paploo to assist, they also gain defense up for 2 turns. Good. Defense up. Dispelling. Dispelling is huge. That's going to be awesome. Diversion. Deal physical damage to target enemy. Inflict speed down for 2 turns. And Paploo gains taunt for 2 turns. Great. Taunt is what we need with the tank. Galvanize. Dispel all debuffs from Paploo and target other allies, so he is a cleanser. If the target other ally is an Ewok, they are called to assist and gain 10% turn meter. Good. Now, I don't have his Don't Hold Back Zeta'd, so I'm not going to read the Zeta aspect. Whenever Paploo gains a status effect, he recovers 5% health. Whenever Paploo gains stealth, dispels stealth and gain taunt for 2 turns. Paploo has 25% speed whenever he does not have taunt active. And what the Zeta would be doing is it'd be adding 5% protection recovery as well. So, I have him at gear 11. How should we mod him, guys? He is a tank. He is the guy that needs to be taking the damage. He needs to be able to eat that damage, be able to hit by a few semis and get back up. So I have a health set, a defensive set would not be wrong either. Is speed that important? Probably not. But I have some decent speed mods on him. I want him to be able to take a beating. So I want to have defensive stats in the secondaries: protection, defense, health. This has some good extra defense. This one has some good protection in the secondaries, in their health mods. Again, they can be defensive mods. Protection in the primary for the circle with some good defense and protection. Then I have the cross, which is a defense in the primary stat. And then I have a bunch of health and protection in the secondary as well. It has no speed, but I'm not concerned about that really. They're going to be gaining a bunch of turn meter anyway. Then I have defense in the primary of the triangle with some good speed. Not any other defensive stats besides that. And then in the arrow, I have defensive primary. So maybe I'll have to change that to a speed. I don't know. Again, I want him to be able to withstand as many attacks as possible because he is the taunter for my team, and that is his job. And with the healing you're going to receive from a few of the characters, he's going to be harder to take down. And that's his job. He's a tank. Do your job. Now we'll look at the Ewok Elder. Probably the second most important character, or if not the most important character to have on the squad. Guiding Strike. Deal physical damage to target enemy with a 6% chance to gain 50% turn meter. Grant other Ewok allies half that amount, and grant other allies 10% turn meter. Okay, granting turn meter. Tribal Healer. Dispel all debuffs on all allies. It's a massive cleanse. That's awesome. All allies recover health equal to 30% of Ewok Elder's max health with a 35% chance to revive defeated allies at 15% health. He is they're recovering health based on Ewok Elder's max health. Remember that. Then Power of the Forest. Revive a random defeated ally at 40% health with a 55% chance for Ewok Elder to gain 45% turn meter. If the revived ally is an Ewok, they are called to assist. Whenever an Ewok ally is defeated, reduce the cooldown of this ability by 1. So what is he? He's the healer. He's the reviver. He's very important. So what do we want him to do? We want him to go as many times as possible. And we probably want some extra health on him because he's going to be healing based on his max health percentage. So I have a speed. You want a speed set, and then you want a health set. I have a speed mod with 9 speed, and you know what? You would like probably some extra health, defensive protection for secondary stats. Probably don't need offensive stats here. In the diamond, always a primary defense. This is a speed mod. It has some extra protection and speed, which is what I'm looking for. In the circle, I have a primary stat of health with some extra speed, okay? Some extra speed, a little bit of health, some defense. That is, I want him to have as much health as possible. Now, they can survive longer when they have protection mods. Unless I will slice these, we'll have to see. I just want him to have as much health as possible. He's like the Shore Trooper, where they gain health based on their max health. In the cross, I have a primary stat of health with a 6 speed. That could be higher. These are just some mods I put on him for the purpose of showing you guys. I might change him around a little bit. In the triangle, I have a primary stat of protection. I could change this to health. He has secondary 8 speed, some offense, extra offense tenacity. It's a very average mod. I put it on here because it has health or protection in the primary, and it has 8 speed. And then you want a speed primary in the arrow. Again, you would like some defensive statistics in the secondaries. So I have a health set, I have a speed set because I want him to go as many times as possible, and I want him to be able to survive as well. He's not here to deal damage. He's here to help the rest of the team. He's a healer. Okay? Now we will look at Wicket. Wicket is the, he's the offensive person of the team that, you want to be dealing most of the damage. I have him at gear 10. I'm going to take him to gear 11 if needed. We'll read through his abilities quick. Inquisitive Jab. Deal physical damage to target enemy and gain critical chance up for 2 turns. If an Ewok ally calls Wicket to assist, they also gain critical chance up for 2 turns. Good. Crit chance up is going to help with damage. Then we look at Forced Ambush. Deal physical damage to all enemies. Ewok allies gain 10% meter for each critical hit. Turn meter for each critically hit scored. So you're going to want to be giving crit chance to him. Gorilla Strike. Deal physical damage to target enemy and call target other ally to assist. If the target ally is an Ewok, Wicket and target ally gain stealth and critical damage up for 2 turns. Now, let's say you absolutely need a taunt. You would give this to Paploo. He would gain stealth, which turned into taunt for 2 turns. Okay, this is another a way to give him some extra taunt. And then furtive tactics. I don't have the Zeta, but it might be important. I'll read the regular ability first. Wicket gains 10% critical damage for each living Ewok ally and each stealth ally. At the end of his turn, Wicket has a 50% chance to take another turn. This chance is reduced to 10% if the effect triggered in the previous turn. So he has a chance to go 50%, then he has a 10% chance to go after that. What is the Zeta? Whenever Wicket scores a critical hit, all Ewok allies recover 4% health and 2% protection. It's a passive heal. That could be important. I'm not going to do it right now. Maybe in the future for territory wars, but I'm not going to do it yet unless absolutely needed. So, you want him to deal damage. Go fast, deal damage. He's the opposite of the other ones. Survive and go fast. Go fast, deal damage. I have an offensive set on him. You can't go wrong with a crit damage set either. In fact, a crit damage set would probably be better because you want him to do more crit damage. So I have an offensive set, though, with good offense and good speed in the secondaries. That's what I'm looking for. Good offense, good offensive statistics, and good speed. And crit chance is an offensive statistic that is very important here. Because the more crit hits he scored, the more good things are going to happen. I have a protection in the circle with 15 speed. That 15 speed is good. Preferably, I'd like to take the triangle and a circle to a crit chance set. I might do that. I have offense in the cross primary because you want him to deal damage. I don't have any speed. I'm going to find a mod that has offense and speed, but you want an offensive mod in the primary of the cross, and it has crit chance as well. I have a crit damage mod, which you absolutely must have in the triangle. I have +9 speed with it, which is good. If you wanted to change this to a crit damage set, like I said, and get it to 2/16 crit damage, you can't go wrong there either. And then you want to have speed in the arrow. I have him with extra offense instead of extra crit damage, and we'll see how that goes if I have to change it. But he has a crit chance of 51.44. He's going to be able to gain crit chance up, which is going to increase that, and that's going to help tremendously. But I would like to have a crit chance set on him as well. Now, Teebo. Teebo is the character that I hear really isn't going to be useful. So I'm going to work on Ewok Scout instead. But if you are forced to use Teebo and to try him out, we'll read his abilities. Deal physical damage if his basic to target enemy if Teebo is stealth. Also remove 100% turn meter. I mean, you're removing turn meter. You really can't go wrong there. Ewok Scramble Tactic. Ewok allies gain 100% turn meter and gain stealth for 3 turns. Other Ewok allies also have a 30% chance to gain stealth for 2 turns. You know, I really don't... This looks like a decent ability because, you know, if you give stealth to Paploo, like I said, he's going to turn that into a taunt. I have just heard through the grapevine that Teebo isn't going to be very useful. Then we'll look at his Bring Low. Deal unavoidable physical damage to target enemy and dispel all buffs on them. This is a dispel. If any buffs are dispelled, remove 60% turn meter. So he's a turn meter removal master, as he was at the beginning of the Rancor and still is with the Rancor. And then his Guerrilla Warfare Leader, if you have to use it, all allies have a 55% chance to gain stealth for 1 turn at the beginning of their turns and a 50% chance to gain 25% turn meter at the end of their turns. You would much rather go with Chief Chirpa. But if you are going to use Teebo, yes, he is a tank, but he's a tank you want to go as much as possible so he can be continually lowering turn meter on everybody. That's his job. So I have, I have a speed set, and then you want protection in the secondaries. This should be a health and protection mod right there, but you want him to be able to take a beating and go as quick as possible. I'm not really looking for him to do damage. So a speed set, and then a health set like I have, and you'll probably want speed in the primary for the arrow. If you don't use Teebo if you don't have to, because that's what I hear. Ewok Scout, he's a good person to have. He's who I'm going to use since I don't have Logray. Let's look at his abilities. Ewok Ambush, deal physical damage to target enemy with a 55% chance to remove 50% turn meter. Good, anytime we can remove turn meter, that's a great thing, and he's dealing some damage as well. Rushing Attack, deal physical damage to target enemy with an additional 50% chance of a critical hit and call a random ally to assist. Good. This can be doing damage with the extra critical hits and extra critical chance and calling people to assist. That's awesome. Then his Tribal Tactics. Ewok Scout gains 5% evasion for each living Ewok ally and gains 30% turn meter whenever he evades an attack or lands a critical hit. Good. So he's going to be gaining 25% evasion. He could be evading quite a bit. He's going to be gaining turn meter. And when he lands critical hit, too, he's going to be gaining some turn meter. So what do we want him to do? We want him to deal damage. On him, I have a crit damage set and a crit chance set. And you want speed and offensive statistics in the secondaries. Right, again, the most important secondary stat is speed. So I have a crit damage set on him with speed in the secondaries. Most of them I have on here are defensive statistics by the speed. But theoretically, if you could get offensive statistics instead, that would be amazing. In the circle, I have protection. I'm going to have an offense in the cross. You want offense in the cross. He's one of the damage dealers. Then in the triangle, I have crit damage with some good speed. And you're going to want speed in the arrow as well. You want him to do damage and go as much as possible. So speed and an offensive set or crit damage set. I have him at gear 8. I will take him to gear 9. Probably get him to gear 11 by Friday. And then the last Ewok that I don't have, but some of you may have, is Logray. He is a support character. Let's read through his abilities. We'll look at his maxed abilities. Deal physical damage to target enemy and gain tenacity up for 2 turns. If an Ewok ally calls Logray to assist, they also gain tenacity up. Ability to prevent status effects. Hypnotize. Dispel all buffs and remove 100% turn meter from target enemy. Inflict daze on all enemies for 2 turns. This attack can't be evaded. Wow. Not only are you removing turn meter 100% from somebody, you're inflicting daze. So they can't counter, they can't assist, they can't gain extra turn meter. All this stuff daze is an unbelievably good mechanic, and that's why I think he's going to be excellent and help you get through the event much easier. Prophetic Visions. All allies gain 20% turn meter. Ewok allies gain Foresight, Advantage, and Offense up for 2 turns. Whew. Foresight, Advantage, Offense up, and turn meter. This is a great ability as well. Shaman's Insight. We'll look at the 7th one because he has a Zeta, and I'm not going to Zeta him. Whenever an Ewok ally scores a critical hit, Logray gains 5% turn meter. And what does the Zeta say? Well, Logray is active. Whenever an Ewok ally scores a critical hit, that ally gains health up for 2 turns, and then all Ewok allies with health up recover 10% health. Whew. He's just basically another healer that can do more. So what would I want to do with mods on him? I'm not looking for him to deal damage. I'm looking for him to survive and just go as much as possible. So you're going to want a speed set, and you're going to want a, health protection defensive set. You want him to go as much as possible. That's his job. Do your job. So really, Ewoks are going to be attacking so much that the damage is going to add up over time. And Wicket and Ewok Scout, in my instance, are the ones that are going to be trying to do the main, most damage are going to come from those 2 characters. Chief Chirpa, Paploo, and turn this alarm off for a second. And Ewok Elder, they're going to be assisting and dealing little damage over time, but I want them to survive so we can get the heavy hitters to come in there and continue to attack. Again, okay, so this is how I have them geared, modded, and leveled. I'm going to do the event on Friday. If you don't want to put these mods in them, if you don't want to level them up or gear them up, you can wait until I do the event, and then I will let you know, okay, how hard was it? Then we can go over it after that. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll probably do a how to mod video on each individual character in the future. I just wanted to get this, this ready for the upcoming 3PO event. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please smash the subscribe button, like the video, click the notification bell so you can be alerted to all videos that I post. Also, please leave comments in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? What videos would you want to see? And what other games do you want to see me play? Let me know all that stuff, please. I'm also putting a link to my Discord server and Patreon page in the description below. And make sure you check out the Galaxy of Heroes forum so you can read 3PO's kit. Otherwise, peace out, and may the Force be with you.